Alright, so today we're going to be talking about standard form and how to convert that given either point slope form or slope intercept form. So, first thing I want to write down is my standard form equation. It's ax plus by equals c. So this is the last form. There's three of them. So the characteristics a and b and c are integers. But more specifically, a is a positive number. It cannot be a negative number, okay? We'll talk about what happens if we do end up having a as a negative number. So the couple limitations are, so there can be no fractions, or a cannot be negative. Alright, so let's look at some of these practice problems. And this is basically literal equation review. Okay, so convert the following slope-intercept equations into standard form. So I want them into ax plus by equals c. Notice how from the original problem, ax is the first leading term. So for this, the y equals negative 3x plus 5, this negative 3x is going to be what I want to move over first. So, just like literal equations, I'm going to add 3x to both sides. And instead of me putting down y plus 3x, I'm going to write 3x first, because again, from the original formula, x is always the first term, plus y equals 5. I wrote everything down, these canceled out, and I ended up with this. Notice how there's no fractions, and this a, which is technically 3, is positive, so I'm good to go. Okay, let's look at number 2. I want the same type of form. I'm going to subtract 2x from both sides. Okay, that is the subtraction property of equality, or SFO. Then I'm going to write negative 2x plus y equals 8. Okay, so unfortunately I'm not done like I was with number 1. I actually do have to do another step. Notice how I have a negative 2 as my a, my coefficient for x, and I cannot have a be negative. That is a limitation. So in order for me to get rid of that negative, I actually have to divide everything by negative 1. You have to keep the equation balanced. So if you are dividing the first term by negative 1, you have to do it for every single term afterwards. So my real answer, my final answer is 2x minus y equals negative 8. Okay, so that's my answer in standard form. Now let's look at, these were the easier type of problems. 3 and 4 are kind of harder. You're dealing with some fractions here, but it's kind of the same idea. I'm going to move the negative 1/3 x over to the left-hand side. In order for me to do that, I'm going to add 1/3 x to both sides. Notice what I'm going to write now. I push that 1/3 right in front of the y because x has to be the leading coefficient, or the leading term, excuse me, and then I can't have a fraction. That was one of the rules that I had at the top. So in order for me to get rid of that fraction, I'm going to multiply by the denominator of this fraction. So that 3, I'm going to multiply this term by this whole term by 3, multiply the y by 3, and the 4. Just like how I did, in number 2, I divided everything by negative 1. I have to do the exact same thing, but this time I have to multiply. So this will be my new equation. X plus 3y equals 12. Okay. And then our last equation for this video is number 4. I'm going to subtract 2y, 2/5 x, I don't know why I said y, from both sides. And I'm going to have negative 2/5 x plus y equals negative 1. Now, you guys could multiply by 5 to get rid of your fraction, because remember, you can't have a fraction, and then divide everything by negative 1. Or you can kill two birds with one stone and just multiply everything by negative 5. So basically, I'm going to take this 5, and I'm going to take that negative sign with me. So multiply this by negative 5, multiply that 5, the y by negative 5, and multiply the negative 1. So your final answer is positive 2x minus 5y equals positive 5. And there you go. So that is standard form for you guys. Remember, you cannot have any fractions, or a cannot be negative. Everything else can be negative. This b can be negative. This c can be negative. Just the a cannot be. Okay. So you can go ahead and try the rest of the problems on your own, but this is just a basic tutorial on how to solve these problems. Okay. See you later. Bye.